Hello and welcome everybody to Unfiltered Copenhagen. This is another exciting episode where we talk about the city we live in, the city we love. That's Copenhagen. I'm Ford, and with me is Rodolfo.
Yeah, and just to get it off the right track for it, beautiful weather.
27 degrees today.
Beautiful weather.
Light breeze just caressing my skin as I stepped out on the patio.
We're even doing this with the window open, so we might get some extra noise from outside, but it feels really nice.
It's just a little too hot to keep the doors completely closed. But yeah, there's some kids playing out there, running around. There's one little kid that lives like downstairs and like a few units over, and we call him the Screecher because he just like makes this high-pitched screaming noise. Like that's his
modus operandi.
That's like his war cry or his cry. I don't know. He seems like a little whiny bastard.
How old is he?
I don't know, 4 or 5 years old or something.
Okay, yeah.
You know how kids are at that age. It's just either they're really good and like sweet and like, oh, he's a clever kid, or it's just like the bane of existence.
Oh, I like how you use the word clever there. So you're saying there's a correlate, or you think kids are more clever if they are quieter?
Well, sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, he's a good kid. And then sometimes you're like, that kid's annoying as fuck. Like you wouldn't tell his parent that, but you'd be like, oh yeah, he's a he's a real nice boy when he's not screeching at,
which is all the fucking time,
100 decibels. Yeah, but you can hear him out there playing. So great weather. We've been out and about in the city a little bit too.
Yeah, enjoying this.
Yeah, I mean, it's finally here, I think. I think for the most part, there's no going back to shitty weather until...
I've been here for long enough for it to just take it one day at a time.
All right.
Maybe sometimes not even a day at a time.
All right. Well...
But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful and I'm excited. And
there was...
finally, this is the city that I love.
Ascension Day was Thursday. Day off. And all the smart people took Friday off as well to create a nice 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
You have Fridays off normally, though.
I don't work Fridays, so I had the...
Pretty much.
Well, I still had a longer weekend because I had Thursday off as well. But yeah, I already have a 3-day weekend usually. And I like it.
Yeah, me too.
I like it.
Seems like Gracie likes it as well. That's the podcast cat.
Yeah, the official mascot, if you could say so,
of Unfiltered Copenhagen. She was enjoying outside too, getting some wind in her fur. So we got a follow up to that thing we talked about. I'm not sure what episode. Maybe it was the second or third episode. There was that old guy that was like remanded in custody for some really serious child pornography accusations, and apparently today, actually just a few days ago. This was May 23rd. 70-year-old pensioner from Brøndby has been found guilty of ordering and paying for the abuse of hundreds of children online. The court in Glostrup sentenced the man to 12 years in prison for his role in 346 counts of abuse of children in the Philippines over a 5-year period.
So the abuse was in the Philippines?
Yeah, according to the defendant who admitted paying for the abuse, he ordered the sexual abuses in order to help the children get money, clothing, and schooling. What a good guy.
Yeah, he's certainly thinking about the children there.
Yeah.
But he's being arrested in Denmark. And
yes, I think what happened last time when we read the article, well, it was a previous article before, and remember that we were trying to calculate because the prosecutors were doing some sort of weird math where they said, based on the number of images he had, it would take somebody like, I don't know, 500 hours or some...
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
I forget what number. Like, it was just a weird metric to measure the amount of images he had by the amount of time it would take you to look at them. And I think we kind of did some back-of-the-napkin math at the time. And then at first we were thinking, wow, this is going to be really skewed. Like, they did this weird math to make it look really fucked up. But then we did the math and we're like, it seems like that's actually, a somewhat reasonable calculation that they did.
Yeah, I think it ended up being around 20-25 seconds per image
or something.
It's still a strange metric.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. But anyways, so apparently I guess what happened is these kids were in the Philippines and he would pay money to their handlers or some sort of abuse ring to say, all right, I want you to do this with the kids or maybe pose them in this way. I'm not sure on the details, but I mean, just reading the fact that he paid for the abuse to happen and these kids were really young. I mean, I doubt they had a PayPal account and and a Skype setup and all that. So they probably had some people that were involved in the abuse. And I think that when we read the original article, that was also kind of the thing. Like they had dismantled some child porn network there with the help of international authorities. And then I guess they also had some records on who was paying for it and consuming it. And this was one of the guys.
But then this is a case that, I mean, if he's being charged in Denmark, when the whole thing happened in the Philippines, is this some kind of agreement that the countries must have, or kind of like an extradition, like some countries
like
have
an extradition thing? Yeah, I mean, I guess many countries have laws that are pretty strict about the abuse of children. Like I know the U.S. one, it doesn't matter if they're committed in the U.S. or abroad. You can still be prosecuted under U.S. law. And I would imagine Denmark probably has something similar, as long as, like, if you facilitate the abuse of something even abroad, or if you go abroad for, like there used to be, I think the reason the U.S. law is in place is that there used to be like sex tourism stuff where Americans would go abroad to somewhere where there was no age of consent, and then they would like have sex with, I don't know, 13, 14-year-old children and then come back and basically not have any consequences. And so now the law is basically, if it would be illegal in the U.S. for you to do it, it doesn't matter where in the world you are.
Well, that's a bit weird though. I mean, maybe it's just me, but that just makes me think of like, okay, in the US you can also only drink at 21,
right?
So if somebody's caught drinking in Denmark, as you can drink at like 15 or 16, and then you go back to the US.
But that's not the case.
No, I know.
That doesn't follow you around. But I mean, I guess child abuse is probably a little more serious concern than
and I guess it's something everybody kind of agrees on.
Yeah. So. Anyways, I guess the state prosecutor said here, quote, "I think the utilization of the punishment framework regarding the rape of children sends a strong signal regarding how serious it is." That's Helena Brela, the state prosecutor. So I don't know. Case is historically massive, and charges alone took up over 100 pages, with the police confirming that they have never before experienced such a brutal case. And the man was held in custody since February last year.
Would you call him an enthusiast?
I guess so. I mean, if it's the biggest case Denmark's ever seen, and I remember those numbers that were talked about at the time, it was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a sad state of affairs, really, but I mean...
Well, justice has been served for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently.
The long arm of the law doesn't mess around.
The long arm of the law.
That's right. It gets you at some point, you know.
Yeah,
you can get away with it for a while, but it's going to reach out and touch you.
It doesn't matter how far away you are.
Well, of course, it also depends on the severity of the crime, I guess. Like, if this guy had just been stealing peanuts from a local nut factory, like 50 grams of peanuts, I mean, he probably could have got away with it. Because I don't think there's anybody really trying to uncover peanut smuggling rings. Although in Canada, there was like some serious maple syrup heists, so never underestimate the long arm of the law.
So what would be the similar heist here? Would be like people stealing flæskesteg sandwiches?
I don't know.
I mean, what's the maple syrup
of Denmark?
Would it be like bacon? Because there's a lot of pigs here.
Yeah, maybe.
Bacon or cheese. Those are the two big exports, if I'm not mistaken. For me, well, and flæskesteg is pork.
Yeah, so I really don't know what the big Danish heist would be. Probably something more like a physical, tangible good, like Royal Copenhagen plates or something like really fancy and valuable. Don't you think?
Well, but that doesn't scream Denmark as much as maple syrup screams Canada, right?
What about those
those chairs, like the Arne Jacobsen chairs?
The Arne Jacobsen chairs.
Yeah.
What about those blue tins of the Danish cookies? The royal.
Oh yeah, the butter cookies. Yeah, that could be.
Because I remember even in the U.S. we used to buy those. And,
in Portugal as well.
And they're amazing.
They're brilliant.
I like the ones that are like the twist that kind of look like a pretzel with the big sugar things on top.
I like all of them.
I mean, me too. But those are like, if I have to, for me, I always pick the tastiest ones out first and leave everybody else with the shitty ones. Oh, well. There's all good. There's no real shitty ones, but there's your favorites, and then there's like, okay, I'll settle for that one.
No, those cookies, they're so good that I don't fish. I just go for whatever comes to my hand. And oh man, I love those cookies. Danish butter cookies.
Yeah, they're quite good. What else we got? Here's on Yuland's post. A fake traffic cop is punished with 7 days imprisonment. A 55-year-old man from Kua.
Let's
Let's see. A young man's rotten driving frustrated another motorist so much that he chose to pretend to be the police. At Kua Bay Motorway, the driver waved a 55-year-old man from Kua waved this young man off the road and presented himself as the police. And now it cost this guy who did that a suspended prison sentence of 7 days. He said he was only intending to give the young man a warning, but he basically exercised public authority on false grounds. Yeah.
I love this.
There's one thing that the police don't take lightly usually anywhere you are. It's basically pretending to be them. And you have some of these guys in the U.S. too that buy they're serious about it. They'll buy one of the used police cars from auction, one of the unmarked.
Oh, you can actually buy those police cars.
Yeah, I think I've seen them around here. The old Crown Victorias, I've seen one or two, even in Copenhagen.
But you can't have the lights on the roof or what?
You can have the light bar. It's just not allowed for you to use it. But most of those unmarked cars, they don't have the light bar on top of the roof on the exterior of the vehicle. If it's an official one, they usually have the lights on the inside of the glass so that they're more concealed and aren't obviously a police car. But they always have that big spotlight up on the driver's side, like a pillar, the thing that's on the left side of the windshield. But anyways, people buy those cars because first off, they're cheap, and I guess you can kind of just run those cars into the ground, and they're big. And then also some people have some wild fantasy about wanting to be a cop without really being one. And there's been cases in Houston and Dallas and stuff of people pulling people over and acting like the police. And sometimes they've actually pulled over a guy, and it turned out he was a real cop. And then he's like, "Okay, where's your badge?" And the guy's like, "What?" And then they just arrest the person trying to pull him over.
Huh.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
Would you do this if some guy was going crazy on the road?
No.
Take the law into your own hands?
I'd be too afraid to pretend to be a cop and getting caught. But I do admire the balls in that guy. Or, assuming that he wasn't drunk or intoxicated in any way, that he just did it out of his own accord and he decided that it was the best option at the time. I applaud him. I guess I'm glad that something happened to him, but I like seeing people doing crazy stuff like that as long as they're not actually hurting anybody.
In court, the judge stressed that the 55-year-old had a blue light sitting on the windscreen, which could be confused with a police siren. This is the kind of thing I was talking about.
Premeditated, yeah.
There were some people that in the U.S. too that would keep the lights on, and you're not allowed to activate them. I mean, technically you can just have them, but you can't actually use them because it creates a public safety issue if people are confused about whether they should move or not.
So he was actually planning that already if he came out with light.
He must have been having some I'm a cop fantasy at least previously and having that thing in the car. I mean, you don't have one of those siren lights for no reason.
Yeah.
And I bet he's probably done it before too.
Yeah, and they got away with it.
He's one of those grumpy old men that's somebody's riding motorcycles too loud next to his home. So one day he just positions his car like it's a speed trap. And when somebody drives by, he's going to flag him down and give him a stern talking to.
Like the get off my lawn kind of guy.
Yeah, that's the get off my lawn guy. Except he get over on the shoulder and let me talk to you for a minute.
So 7 days he's going to be in jail.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a token imprisonment.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, what are you going to do? It's a 55-year-old man. Yeah.
He probably won't do that anymore.
I don't know.
You think so?
7 days?
You think it's going to embolden him?
For 7 days?
Do you think?
I mean, if it's a big part of his...
I've been to jail for 2 or 3 days before. It sucks. Even being in jail for 1 day sucks.
Yeah, but if it's his hobby, if it's something that he truly is passionate about, I mean, of course, if he gets caught the second time, it's not going to be as lenient.
I mean, maybe it's not as bad here in Denmark because I think it's generally considered pretty cush the treatment you get here. But I remember it was a county jail up near Oklahoma, and the water fountain was basically the toilet. It was an integrated unit where you could take a shit into it on the bottom and then drink out of it on the top. And it was
it the same water, recycled water?
I can only hope it wasn't probably the fresh water that came into the top of the bowl is actually what you drink.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. You just don't have a good mental picture when those things could even potentially be mixed. I mean, even if you know deep down that they're separate, it's just not the best thing.
I mean, if there's people in Roskilde who are drinking last year's piss that was brewed into beer,
but
right?
that was filtered, right?
Well, sure. I'm not claiming that the piss would just come unfiltered as the drinking water.
Would you drink unfiltered piss?
if I would drink unfiltered piss.
Yeah.
Well, in the right situation, I might. I mean, it's not something that I do out of pleasure, you know. I don't.
What's the right situation for you?
Well, I'm not a very kinky person for it, so I don't think it would be any kind of
like you meet a girl on
sexual
Tinder and she's
thing.
like, I'm into water sports and all that.
But if there was a challenge or a dare, and I would get
how much money would it take? Okay, here's a few questions. Let me hit you with a few. All right.
Sure.
So I guess fresh piss, right, is probably like the most. If you're gonna drink piss, it's probably better that it's fresh and not some rancid piss that's been sitting in a cup
still
for
warm because it just came out of the body, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, unless you want to instantly chill it down with ice to get that nice refreshing effect. But so what would it take? Like if somebody was like, I'll give you 10,000 euros to drink your own piss. Like let's say, I don't know, 350 milliliters.
That's like a Coke can.
Yeah.
Okay. 10,000 euros.
Would you do it?
Probably.
Now, what about another person's piss for 10,000?
I guess that would depend more on situation, even though
on the person or what?
No, yeah. I mean, I think I would, but I don't think it would be as immediate of a I would. I would need to really evaluate if I wanted those 10,000 euros or what.
I mean, but it's a significant amount of money.
It is.
And
it's
not
significant
as bad.
enough, and this is not something that's going to kill me. You know.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as, let's say, like, I don't know, eating shit or something like that. To me, you know, that I don't think I'd do that for almost any. I mean, it would have to be like in the millions of dollars.
A lot more foul. Yeah.
And I guess, well, then you also have the question: how much have they had to drink? Is it like watery clear piss, or does it come in like a yellow custard or mustard looking piss?
Yeah,
real cloudy.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So it's just something you got to judge at the time.
Yeah, I would definitely, and maybe the smell as well, and
or like a Bear Grylls situation, like if you're out in the wilderness and you're gonna die if you don't do it.
If I was completely dehydrated and that was the only thing I had to drink, I guess I would drink it. I mean, I've never been in a situation like that, but I don't see why I wouldn't.
I think there's a Danish company that makes this thing called the Life Straw, and it's a little like thing you can wear around your neck. It's like basically a little bit larger than a pin. Mm-hmm. And you can basically put one end of it in completely fucked up sources like, I don't know, contaminated water that animals have been shitting in and piss, whatever. And you just suck on this straw and it filters out pretty much everything. Like it won't filter out chemicals. In other words, it's not going to turn bleach into water. Mm-hmm. But if water has been contaminated with all kind of different things, it can remove, I think, like 99.99%. So it's used in areas that have natural disasters and then the water supply is contaminated. And I want to say it's a Danish firm that makes this Life Straw thing.
There's a bunch of devices like that, right?
Yeah, well, there's a video. Remember I showed you those guys, the Good Mythical Morning stuff?
Yeah.
There's a video of them where they basically take their staff's piss and they drink their piss through a Life Straw.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they also do some other stuff. They put like some cat poop in some water and drink it through the Life Straw.
How do they react? Like, how do they react to the flavor?
I don't think they were wild about all of them. There's some of them were, I guess, better than others. They drank some bath water, like of two fat guys sitting in a bathtub, and they said it was not too bad.
I mean, then it just means that the device works, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it works. I guess I would do it if I needed to survive. I don't know if I would do it just because I wanted to. Maybe if there's some money.
No, not just that. I'm bored. What am I going to do?
Well, I don't know. You got to test the thing somehow, right? Make sure that it works before you take it out in the field.
Yeah, but you can test it with something else other than, I don't know, bathtub water.
All right. Enough about drinking piss, Dolph. What else we got? Wanted image of a suspected attacker led to the arrest. A 26-year-old man suspected of being behind an aggravated assault at Tostrup Station has been arrested. I read this earlier, and it's fucked up. This 26-year-old guy assaulted a male member of cleaning staff, was filmed on security cameras. At 10 o'clock, the man started to sweep the platform when he passed a man lying on a bench that was sleeping. And the employee increases his cleaning machine, I guess, to go and check. Wait, what is this translation? Is so bad. Anyways, I guess he went to go check on the sleeping guy to say, like, hey, I'm cleaning. Is it all right? Like, he wasn't trying to bother him. Mm-hmm. But apparently it provoked the guy. And he punched this cleaning staff in the face, and then he wasn't finished. He stands up and trampled the guy in the chest and the head, and then he kicked him several times in the head as well. And the cleaning staff was in his late 50s. He has broken bones in his face, sustained a serious concussion, and also his hip is damaged.
Man, I feel this sounds very tabloidy.
But I mean,
like,
this is on Jyllands Posten. I mean, this
don't
is
go to Tostrup.
Yeah, we already talked about Høje Taastrup. You were the one who said, "Who the fuck wants to go there?"
Yeah, that's true.
I've never been there, so I don't have an opinion on the place.
To
but
be fair, I don't know.
kinda-
I've been to Ishøy. I don't know if I've ever actually been to Høje Taastrup all the way.
Yeah. So apparently the guy is not in like immediate danger, the victim, but I mean he's also not in good shape either, I guess. And in the U.S., if you kick somebody while you're down with a shoe on or anything, it's like assault with a shod foot or whatever. I guess this is the technical term, but that's like can be attempted murder. Because it's a deadly weapon. You know, you can kill somebody with like one kick in the of course, while they're down. Once they're already down. I mean, if you kick somebody in the head while they're standing, I guess maybe it's a little different. Once a person is down, then it becomes like a serious crime.
Did you see the videos of the video of those I don't know if they were Erdogan supporters or whatever it was, the guy in suits in the States in Washington?
Yeah, they were Erdogan's bodyguards, right?
Yes, something like
that.
And
they were like choking out some U.S. protesters or something?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they were choking out, maybe, but there was one that is very clearly seen actually kicking someone else in the head.
Yeah.
While they were down.
Yeah, well, Erdogan's trying to show Trump how to really do it.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I can just come to your country and treat people like shit and not have any repercussions. I'm surprised because actually I saw a picture of when he went to the Netherlands and his bodyguards got out of hand, and there's like a full assault police there, like arresting his bodyguards. Like, which is, I guess, what I would expect. Like, you can't just come to somewhere else and do that kind of shit.
Yeah, and pretend that that you're the godfather over here.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways, I was a little ashamed of the fact that the U.S. didn't seem to do anything about that.
Yeah, there's probably some political reason behind it, you know, but still, it's not a good. It doesn't set a good precedent.
No, but what the fuck, man? A 26-year-old guy, you attack some 50-year-old guy that's just cleaning the fucking station. Like,
dude, he was probably drunk on drugs. I don't know.
Probably drunk. I don't know.
I mean, first, if he was sleeping there, I think that.
But it doesn't excuse him if he was drunk or not. I'm just saying it's fucked up, man. Like, just
no, I know. I'm just saying that maybe he didn't even wasn't fully aware of what he was doing. I don't know. I'm not trying to excuse him.
No.
I'm just trying to.
But still,
to make some sense.
You're sleeping in a public place on a bench. I mean, there's got to be sounds that are going to happen. Like, you can't expect this guy to not do his fucking job because you happen to be sleeping there. Anyways,
I don't know for that. I don't think he had a very rational thought like that. Like, yeah. I just woke up and I am here in this train station
First
or whatever
it is.
Mind,
punch this guy in the face, stomp on his chest, kick him in the head.
Yeah, and then I'll figure out what exactly I should have done.
Yeah. Critical thinking.
Doesn't strike me as his forte.
No. But I think we're actually going to have some positive news today. We got a positive lineup because last week's podcast was basically just nothing but depression. So we're almost over the negative news hump.
Are we?
Well, Copenhagen police have dedicated more than 20,000 hours of violent football fans, I guess.
Yeah, 20,000 man hours.
Yeah, to protect high-risk matches.
And that's in a 9-day.
No, it says 9 high-risk matches in the capital were used basically more man-hour or the same amount of man-hours as 1 month of increased border security. So 9 matches with so-called high-risk. Last year, police were using 20,815 man-hours to keep track of football fans. That's a lot of fucking man-hours.
I mean, yeah, I obviously haven't done the math.
And what do you assume police get paid? Like 100, 120 crowns an hour, 150 crowns an hour?
I have no fucking idea.
So how much is that? Should we do some math real quick?
Well, but does it matter how much it is? I mean...
Well, I mean, I'm just curious. No, it doesn't really necessarily matter to me right off. Let's just say police make 125 crowns an hour. Doesn't that sound pretty fair to you?
That sounds very low.
Or I think it's low, but I would rather it be low.
Yeah, okay.
So if it's 20,815 man-hours, that's 2.6 million crowns.
For safety.
Yeah, I can't put a price on safety, right? I guess it's not so bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
You would rather have those things go a little smoother than just get completely out of hand like some of the things in Eastern Europe get. And Mexico, I know, also has some crazy football matches too.
Oh, yeah, Latin America?
Yeah,
Latin America is probably the worst.
Well, yeah, I remember... who was the Club America player that got shot in the back of the head by some guy? He was taking a piss, like he was in a urinal taking a piss, and a guy just shot him in the back of the skull with a 22 at like point blank range. He didn't die either, and then he went on to continue playing. He went on to continue playing after. Salvador Cabañas He's a really star player, but yeah, I think it fucked him up. Somehow he made a return though.
There was this news in Brazil a few years ago that a referee actually had his head decapitated just to keep it on the tragedies for now.
We're not done with the tragedies yet.
He was decapitated by fans because of some refereeing,
some bad call he made.
Or crazy. I mean,
yeah, it's too much.
Holy shit! I mean, it was also a poorer region in Brazil and stuff like that. It wasn't some big match, but still, people take their football seriously.
Oh, okay. Wait, it actually says here, police officer in Copenhagen normally gets an average of 240 crowns per hour. So
okay,
actually, this is
more
not
like
a very
5
good.
million.
But wait, there's even more. So that's 5 million crowns. And then it also says the amount is calculated from an average hourly wage and thus takes no account of the football matches that are typically played in the evening or in weekends, where each officer gets 25% surcharge. So the cost could actually be higher than 5 million, but the police won't confirm exactly what the figure is. But anyways, 5 million.
I think it's fine. It's
still
you can't put a price. I mean,
think...
if there's no incidents in these 9 days, if there was just one person who got really injured, could you really put a price on that?
No, and imagine, let's say 20 people went to the hospital. I mean, I don't know what that's going to cost depending on the injuries, but I mean, it could easily pay for itself to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And I mean, it's a spectacle. It's a show, you know.
So let's see. They use dogs here. The police on the edge of these. I'm looking at a picture here, and we're going to put these articles in the actual SoundCloud description. I know we missed that last week, but it was a bit of an oversight on our part. But the police use actually dogs here in the photo. I guess this is for people streaking and running onto the field, like the dog can catch them faster.
I don't know for it.
You think?
I mean, it could be just having the dogs there. And the game is not happening right now because there's no players in the pitch.
No,
so it could be just. I mean, they're just kind of there for that picture, or they take the picture at that time, but nothing really is happening.
But you've seen the photos of the streakers and the guys that run across there,
yeah.
And sometimes it's like cue the Benny Hill music,
yeah.
And people are running around chasing them for like quite some time. They often
yeah, but you don't want to send a dog to a situation like that.
If you're in America, you do. Just send the dog in and then shoot the guy after the dog has him down. I'm joking.
Yeah, I know.
I know you are.
But you don't want to send the dog to a streaker. No? Or to someone who's just running into the pitch.
Why? It might just bite that donger clean off, you know?
This dog can kill the fucking guy. I mean, they're probably trained not to kill, but still, it could put him in
some serious hurt.
Some serious, injuries.
Should have thought about that before you started streaking.
Well, sure, but I mean...
I'm just giving you shit,
solving small problems with
teeth.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better.
No.
With sharp teeth, canines.
All right. Speaking of solving problems with teeth, there's a supermarket chain that will let people buy unhealthy as they want.
Well, no shit.
The Danes are buying more unhealthy items. Supermarkets have a responsibility to make it easy to live healthy, says Co-op. Last year, I guess there was more chips, soft drinks, and cakes in supermarkets last year compared to 2015. The supermarket group Co-op will not take the initiative to sell fewer unhealthy items. Their information director said they have a responsibility to make it easy to live healthy. Therefore, we do a lot to promote sales of healthy products like fruit, vegetables, and fish. That does not mean that we will not sell unhealthy products. The customers who want to buy unhealthy, they must be able to do it, he says. Yeah, I could feel that. I have a can of Waffelroer over here. So I don't think those are like the most healthy thing in the world either.
No, I mean, yeah, what the fuck do you want me to say to that article? It's basically a supermarket saying, hey, we also sell shitty stuff.
I mean, sometimes, like, when we check out at Bilka or Netto or whatever, sometimes I feel so American because, like, the person in front of us, you know,
it's like kale.
The person in front of us in line has like spinach and carrots and couscous and all this shit that's like they're gonna make a nice healthy meal, and then we come on there's like a bag of Doritos, some sour gummy worms, a bar of chocolate, Waffelroer, which if you don't know, it's like. I don't know how to describe it.
It's like cinnamon sticks.
It's like those coffee sticks or like little...
It's like a cinnamon stick just full of sugar.
Yeah, it's like a crunchy pastry thing or something filled with sugar or cream. I don't really know how to describe it.
It's like
but
legal coke, basically.
Yeah, but basically our whole like that's not our whole cart. Of course, we have some other shit, but like we at least have like 10 unhealthy items that are just snacks and soda and shit in our cart. So I'm always wondering, like, wow, do these people?
You feel
just
judged?
Not really. I don't care that much, but yeah, sometimes I feel like they
it's like a teenager going to buy condoms and he's like, can I get that over there? And you're just. If you feel like, oh, they're looking at me, but you're older now, you don't give a shit about what people think. If you want to eat your Waffelhol,
I think the older you get, the less you care about approval from other people.
Oh, for sure.
Like when I was young, I remember always thinking like, oh, I wonder what they think of me and stuff like that. And less as I got older, I just like, you know what, I'm gonna live my life. Fuck what like. I guess you also realize, like when I was growing up, maybe when I was like 16, 17, you have this idea, or at least I had an idea that grown-ups have it all figured out, or like they. You know what I mean? And then the older I got, I realized that like
nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Nobody has any idea, and they just try the best they can to kind of get through this life in whatever way works. So,
yeah, I guess that's a common feeling. I've certainly felt similar to that, but I actually don't remember ever thinking when I was a kid that adults had it all figured out. Maybe I did think like that subconsciously, but. Yeah, I mean, I'm technically an adult, and I certainly don't have shit figured out. And the more I see other adults, the more I understand that neither do they, most of them. But if you look at everyone on Facebook, everybody seems to be living a pretty good life.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. That's why I quit Facebook, because it's not like real. It's not the real story of what people are doing. They only post like a curated like view of what they think they want people to perceive them as, or
I use Facebook mostly for kind of like a pseudo RSS feed, so I just follow pages and then I see what's happening there. So I get news.
Oh, there was a life pro tip on Reddit I saw like maybe this morning, and it was like, if you want to find out if there's any apps that are basically recording your audio and doing targeted ads, just find some audio of like Spanish language shit for like 2 hours and just put your phone next to it and play like 2 hours of Spanish language, and then see if you start getting advertisements in Spanish in certain apps. And people were saying that the Facebook apps were doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait. The Facebook app listens through your mic?
I don't know. Yeah, it does. I don't know if it's the Messenger app or the regular Facebook app, or if it's both. But one of them does. It listens to your mic, I guess, at all times, and basically does targeted advertisement. And also, I think some people say that, or they theorize that that's how it recommends people sometimes. Like they'll have been talking about like a common friend, and then like I guess the app knows who's talking, and then you say a name, and if you're not already connected with them but the other person is, or I don't know how exactly it works or if it's even true, but basically people would talk about stuff like that and then suddenly get a recommendation like to connect
someone
with that.
You might know.
Yeah, isn't that fucking creepy?
Yeah,
I don't like that at all.
That's some Brave New World shit.
Yeah. Speaking of Brave New World, world's smallest hotel in Copenhagen. I don't know if that has anything to do with Brave New World.
Well, it has to do with world.
You got to be brave to be in the smallest hotel in Copenhagen.
Well, if it's smaller, maybe it'll be at least affordable.
2.3 by 3 meters in size.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very big.
If you're looking to book a room, or the room, actually, I guess so they only have one room, at Hotel Central in Copenhagen, you better ensure nobody in your party suffers from claustrophobia. Located in the capital's Vesterbro district, the hotel has only one room. At a Spartan 2.5 by 3 meters, you can squeeze just a couple of people in their bags in there. And according to World Records Union, World Kings, I've never heard of this World Records. This is definitely not, what's the Guinness book? But anyways, they say it's the smallest hotel in the world. The room is not suitable for families since it has limited space and it doesn't allow for extra beds. Well, no shit.
Where is it?
Despite the limited space, somehow the room also includes a shower, a minibar, a flat screen television that can be hidden away, and a stereo where you can connect your iPhone. There's also 2 bicycles available, but obviously they're kept elsewhere. It's 2,100 Danish crowns per night. Breakfast is included, though.
So that's more than $300.
Yeah.
Wow.
The building itself is over 100 years old. And it was originally a cobbler's shop with a small flat above. What the hell, man?
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. You just do it to say you've done it, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think
And
it's cool because I want to do it, but I think it's cool that there is a place like this.
I also kind of like those charming. I don't know, like when I was young, I would like, you know how kids like to be in like a tree house or a little fort, or you build a little castle with blankets and stuff, and you're in like a really small enclosed space. Spaces like that never really bothered me too much, although like I could not deal with being like completely trapped in a small area. You know what I mean? Like if you locked me in a box that was that small, I think I would go nuts. But if I know I can get out of it, it's not really a problem to be in a small space or like an elevator for me. But my mom freaks out.
Oh, I'm not very claustrophobic either.
No, my mom is though. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So it's in Vesterbro. Does it say what street it's on?
Tullensgade. Tullensgade. Okay.
Tullensgade.
That's kind of hidden, I guess. Oh, next time I need to pass there just to see it.
Anyways, Hotel Central. You should look it up if you're looking for the smallest hotel.
Yeah, and if you have 2,100 kroner to spare.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. You know, if you're actually looking for a big place that's nice and pretty good value for the money, stay Copenhagen. Those lofts. That's where my mom stayed. Like we paid for her to stay there. It's like a full size loft with like a fully appointed kitchen with like all the utensils and cooking shit in there. It has a washer and dryer, shower, and actually it's cool because on both sides of the building, each wall of the loft is like a sliding window that's like 10 meters by like, I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like you can just slide the whole window out of the way on the wall.
Sounds exciting for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
I've never stayed in a
Anyways, it wasn't very
here.
expensive. I remember looking at the time, it basically came out to like 700 or 800 crowns a night to have your own apartment in Copenhagen near Islandsburg, which, I mean, yes, you can probably get cheaper at like a hostel or something, but
it's affordable, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a really good deal. And then if you're traveling here from far away, having the washer and dryer is nice because then you don't have to bring like 400 things of clothes. You can actually just wash what you have there, and there's an Irma right below, so you can go down and get some groceries and not have to pay like eating out prices every night if you want to stay here a while.
Well, the thing is, there's also Airbnb.
Of course, yeah. I mean, but what I'm saying is, if for whatever reason you don't want to do Airbnb or you can't find an Airbnb you like it's basically the same experience.
Yeah,
but just from a company that does that specifically. You know, it has an office that you can go talk to and make sure if you run out of, I don't know, if you have a light bulb out or you have some little thing that you need. Anyways, she had a good experience. She loved it, and I think it's better value than the smallest hotel in the world.
But it's not. But you can't say that you've been in the smallest hotel in the world.
No,
ranked by the World Kings. Was that the?
Yeah, what
the
was
website?
It called? World Records Union World Kings.
World Kings.
Well, that is a reputable world record place.
Well, just because you don't know it, Ford, it might actually be.
Come on, Dolph. It's Guinness Book or nothing, right?
even that.
All right. There is a new festival about nature and science in Sunemarken. Is that right? Sunemarken.
Yeah, and that's next to the zoo.
Concerts, lectures, food, wine, debates, and guided tours. It's just a selection of what you can experience on the Free Nature and Knowledge Festival, Bloom, on the 27th and 28th of May. So that's today and tomorrow.
Is Bloom the real name, or is it translated?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, it's called Bloom.
Bloom.
And it is, there's a large park in Frederiksberg, I guess, where it is going to happen.
That sounds exciting. It's a science festival, 2 days. There's talks. I might check it out. When is it?
Today and
tomorrow.
Yeah, it says during the 2 days you'll be able to drink and eat natural wine and I guess dinner and hear lectures and debates with both international and Danish researchers. You can look around, take guided tours of the nature while you basically have a talk. So that's kind of cool. It's better than like just sitting down in your seat and listening to a lecture. You can actually kind of walk around and have the lecture while you're enjoying nature. That's pretty cool.
I think it's interesting. I like the concept of actually integrating the park itself within the talks, or at least there was some guided tour or something like that.
Yeah.
A response to fake news and amateurism.
Yeah. Yeah, a response to the so-called post-factual society. Huh. They'll make knowledge accessible without simplifying and pandering. Will honor those who make an effort. will pay tribute to the long haul and make room for the microscopic disparities on huge significant. Wait, is this translated or what?
It is translated.
Okay. Because this doesn't really make a lot of sense if I read it in English.
That's pretty interesting. Do you think there's going to be a boom in science education and stuff like that
so.
because of Trump and because of the stuff happening nowadays?
Yeah, these climate deniers. Apparently, I saw an article today said Trump's stance on climate change is evolving. Quote, evolving.
Well, he got a gift from the Pope.
Yeah, which was like an actual thing about climate change, right? Yeah. I just can't believe, like, how can you... I just don't understand how people can deny, like, things like the flat earth people and the climate change deniers and all this stuff when you just have an overwhelming body of evidence that supports that none of that shit is true, basically.
Yeah, the flat earth is my favorite. I actually tried to... The other day, I tried to watch a documentary about flat earth just to see what their arguments were.
Yeah.
I was just curious to see what they actually used as evidence for their belief.
What was the evidence?
And I don't know, because after 5 minutes, I was really like, "Fuck! I can't
handle this anymore."
It was like a 1 hour video, and like, if I can't take 5 minutes of this, I really don't want to be here for 55 minutes.
No,
just for. It's not even my own education. I was just curious about what their arguments were, and it's gonna be some convoluted shit. They couldn't grab my attention.
Nothing convincing, right?
Well, I'm certainly biased, because I didn't go there with an open mind. Like, let's see, maybe they really are speaking the truth. But I was at least curious to hear what they had to say.
But if you've ever even seen footage of, like, I mean, even a plane at like 20,000 meters, or even less, you can see the curvature of the Earth, and like, let alone like whenever they send. You ever seen that Red Bull thing where the guy skydives out at like 100,000 feet or something, like from the edge of space? It's so obvious that the Earth is round.
I don't know for it. Maybe it's an optical illusion.
Oh my God. So, but this is pretty cool. I like this. Yeah, hopefully there is a more boom in science-related stuff. I know kind of in our network of friends, we have some people that are pretty stoked about science.
Yeah, but I mean, we work with like
nerds.
Yeah, basically people who are more into science and stuff like that. Yeah, in general.
So if you're interested in science and maybe chilling, I mean, that's probably good for the family too to get out.
It seems like a great place for everybody, really.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
It's a nice park as well.
Yeah,
there's some hills.
Frederiksberg is really nice in general, the area, right?
Yeah, it's not that one. It's across from that one, so it's on the other side of the zoo. But it's a very nice park. It has a bunch of hills because it's right on the hill that that the zoo is located at. And I was there in the winter, and there's people sledding there, like kids sledding there. It's a very nice park.
Huh.
I recommend you to check it out, especially now with this beautiful weather.
Yeah, it is nice. What else we got? Distortion is coming, Dolph.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's probably my favorite event of the year.
Is it for the music or just for the fact that everybody's out and about having a great time?
It's the party. It's the street party environment. Mostly. Yeah, I don't even care that much about the 2 last days, which is, I mean, they're nice. I've been there because I was volunteering a couple of years ago, so I was at the big party.
Yeah,
but that's more like a normal party. The street party is what I really think it's awesome and exciting and fun and
yeah. I've never actually really kind of participated. I mean, I've been in the city while it's going on, but I never really.
Well, participating is really not more than just being in the neighborhood. Yeah, I mean, there's.
But I mean, I'm on Ama, so there's not really much going on out here.
Yeah, but you're not that far. No, not here. There's no distortion in Ama, as far as I know.
The closest place here is Rif Shelun, right?
Yeah, and that's where it's going to be the last 2 days. Or at least it used to be.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, just more of a regular party/festival thing.
Well, there's 2 names on here that we know, which, well, at least that I know.
I know a few.
You know Extra Welt, also Maceo Plex. These are like electronic music artists.
Yeah. I know Omar Suleiman.
Okay, who is that? I don't know.
It's some
Syrian guy.
Yeah, it's some Syrian guy that I really can't describe. You need to check it out.
Okay.
It's somewhat traditional Arabic music, but it's not
with
really.
like a modern
it's very
twist. Or something?
like it's, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember this punkish vibe to it.
Okay.
I remember I liked it.
So how's the pricing work for here? It says Distortion Week. This includes a bunch of different things.
The Distortion
but that's 650 crowns. So that gives you Distortion Island, Distortion Club, free drinks. I don't know how many that is. And street benefits. And then there's like this street armband, which is much less. How does this work then? What's the differences?
For the street parties, which are going to be in, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday and Thursday in Norrho and Västerbro, respectively, it's just a street party. You don't need to pay anything. You're on the street and you're in the party.
Yeah.
If you want to support Distortion, you can buy a bracelet, a street bracelet, which is the 125 krona one, which apparently, in order to boost sales, they actually give some benefits nowadays. I don't know if they did it in the past. Maybe you get a T-shirt or something like that, or a free, like a couple of.
Well, I see one benefit right here that's looking real interesting to my ass cheeks, and that's luxury toilets.
Yeah, that's.
Have you tried those luxury toilets?
I don't know which luxury toilets.
Is it like a velvet lining right on the?
I doubt
bowl?
it. It's probably just not the
probably
regular.
not pissing in the street instead.
Well, you don't piss on the street.
No,
well, I mean, if you're a guy, you can, of course.
But you know how they have those trailers that they have at, like, for instance, Smukfest in Skanderborg, where they bring the trailers in, and it's actually a pretty nice toilet. And then probably, I guess, the regular ones are just like the porta potty type things.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you actually have like a real faucet, maybe you can wash your hands with.
I think it's the first year that they're doing that, so I really don't know what the luxury toilet is.
And it says free beer.
Yeah, I don't know
how much that is.
How much that is.
Okay. Because I imagine if it was free beer and Danes were involved, that they might actually lose money on that.
Yeah, it's a bit cheap
It's
to be giving
slope.
free beer for 2 days.
Yeah. Okay, and then or you can go all out and buy like the street band and then all this other shit for 650 crowns. So you can go to everything, right? The island in Refshelu.
Yeah, the thing is, the island thing is the one I was saying is more like a real festival or a normal festival. That one you need to pay to attend, and that's Friday and Saturday.
But yeah, this looks like a pretty cool lineup. I mean, I imagine it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun no matter what you do.
It's so awesome. If you don't know it. Well, maybe you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I should go this time.
And you can see videos on YouTube, just see the amount of people there.
So CPH Distortion.
It's great.
.dk if you're interested in checking out the official site. You can just search for Copenhagen Distortion, I guess. Cool. Yeah. And the police have a warning too, right? Move your car.
Which makes sense because when you get in... I mean, there's so many people on the streets.
Yeah, look at this picture. Holy shit, it's just like an ocean of people in the street. So they say, we recommend you move your car out of the area and avoid a wrecked car. So I guess people kind of act like a little bit destructive and probably tear your car up. And even if you don't, I guess they also are going to have all the cement blockades out so that you hopefully don't have some sort of terrorist vehicle attack trying to mow people down. So if your car's parked in that area and then they put up those barricades, well, you're not going to be able to get it out. Either. So they just say move your car out of the area if you're going to be in one of the areas where the street parties are going on, I guess.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, I don't think people go there in order to break shit, you know.
Right, but when people are drunk and
so
just having a good
people
time.
And they're drinking and shit happens.
Okay, so you can see some areas where parking is prohibited on the website, and then also I guess there's a video of some young people dancing on the roof of a Citroen last year or something, which caused people to be angry.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just people
having
fun and they're drunk and they just, look, a car, let's climb on this and dance. I don't know.
Yeah, that's generally my thought process too.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but then again, I'm not much of a dancer myself.
And then I guess there's going to be Roskilde as well, and then there'll be Smukfest. But here's some bad news for Roskilde. Well, maybe good news, depending on how you look at it. A Tribe Called Quest has canceled the Roskilde appearance. Instead, in their place, Ice Cube and the hip-hop trio Digital Planet. Or Diggable Planet. I don't know if it's Digital or Diggable Planet.
Ice Cube, that's the Pimp My Ride guy, right?
No, that's Exhibit.
That's Exhibit.
Ice Cube is the Gotta Say It Was a Good Day rapper. He was with NWA back in the day with like Dre and Snoop.
He's the one
and all
from
that.
Body Count?
Body count.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Okay,
I don't
doesn't
know.
matter. No, that was Ice-T. I don't know. I don't know shit about.
No.
Okay. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
Ice-T is the light skinned guy that has I forget who his wife is, but yeah, Ice Cube is the
Okay, I don't.
today it was a good day. Didn't even have to use my AK.
I'm not a hip hop
You're not a hip-hop guy.
connoisseur.
Anyways, it should probably be pretty good. I mean, I guess Q-Tip had some operation.
And Q-Tip is what member of a Tribe
one of the
Called
rappers
Quest?
in Tribe Called Quest. Yeah. So they made arrangements with Ice Cube and Digital Planets. Even though none of them are on tour at the moment, they're flying to Europe just to play this one show for the summer for Digital Planets. And Ice Cube basically put this concert in his calendar, even though at the time he's in the midst of settling a U.S. basketball tournament, which he's also behind or something. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool.
Doesn't really.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I know you don't care about hip hop, but I mean, still, I think there's like a pretty big Danish hip hop scene. And they like, I've met a bunch of Danes that are like, really know a lot about American hip hop as well. Like I've been impressed sometimes about the knowledge of kind of like obscure groups or stuff that I would not have expected, I guess, somebody to know about unless they were a real big hip hop fan. And yet there's been so many people that have been like that. And I'm like, wow, I guess it's really penetrated the culture a lot. And I mean, you have a lot of Danish rappers and hip hop artists as well. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure some people will be stoked about seeing Ice Cube. Maybe less stoked that Tribe Called Quest won't be there because they're pretty old school and well respected. But
but if hip hop is not your forte, and if you're more of a, let's say, a jazz kind of guy, you can go watch and listen to Woody Allen playing at the Copenhagen Jazz Festival.
Yeah, and his New Orleans jazz band.
Yeah, I guess maybe maybe a lot of people don't know. I don't know, but Woody Allen I think he plays clarinet, and he's been playing for at least half his life. I don't know when he started, but he's been playing for at least 30, 40 years.
He's 81 now.
Yeah, he's not the youngest one, but his girlfriend or his wife is younger.
So he's going to play at Amabio. We've been there. What did we watch in Amabio?
We went there to see Stanhope.
Stanhope. We saw Doug Stanhope at Amabio. It was a good venue. I liked the venue quite a bit.
Well, at least for stand-up.
Right. I mean, it wasn't a music show, but I could see how it would also be a good place for music. Just the general layout and everything. I mean, it was quite good at the time. That was what, a year or two ago that we went?
I can't remember, but yeah, 2 years ago maybe. I don't think it was.
So the last time Woody Allen was in Denmark, it was in 2011, and they played in the Imperial. And so here he's back after 6 years, going to play in Amabio. Most people know him as an actor and film director, but his jazz band has existed for more than 35 years.
I'm a big Woody Allen fan. I mean, his movies, not his music, but I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. If it was accessible, and also I'm not the biggest jazz fan. I mean, I like jazz, but going to a jazz concert.
Okay, well, he's not the only guy here. Copenhagen Jazz Festival, I guess, will be here from the 7th of July to the 16th.
Oh, yeah, that's just non-stop jazz concerts.
Yeah, I remember because
my
mom was here, was it last year or the year before? But she was here right during when the Jazz Festival was going on. That's when she stayed in the Copenhagen, or the Stay Copenhagen lofts that I was talking about earlier. And I think she checked out a little bit of local jazz around.
But it's a great event. I mean, there's just music everywhere and people on the streets. I love everything that brings people into the streets like this. There's Distortion, there's Kulturnat in October.
Yeah.
There's the Jazz Festival. There's also a Blues Festival some time of the year. I don't know exactly when.
Fuck yeah.
I love these events. And especially spring, summer, when the weather gets nicer. Copenhagen does a lot of that stuff. Which only adds to my fascination with this beautiful city. It's a good
culture and entertainment culture here, and in general, I think. What else do we got here? Get in the swim of things in Copenhagen Harbor this summer. If you've never learned how to swim or would like to swim better, now might be the time to try a cool dip in picturesque surroundings.
I could learn how to swim better.
Yeah, being able to swim is something that many of us take for granted, but according to various statistics, 1 in 5 Brits cannot manage a stroke. And I guess this means 1 in 44 or 44%. This article is written really weird. It says 1 in 5 Brits can't manage a stroke, And then it says, quote, and as many as 44 Americans too. So I don't know if that means
confusing.
1 in 44, if it means 44%, if it's just a typo. No idea. But I would say probably generally my guess would be that more Americans could swim than Brits.
Why?
Because water activities and stuff is like so, I don't know, popular in the U.S. Like so many people have swimming pools in their backyard. It's such a big country with so many like bodies of water that it's very common to go out on the lake and do like, I don't know, jet skiing and water skiing and like inner tubing and all kind of shit like that. It's like very popular. So I would guess that more people in the U.S. could swim, but I mean, I know there's still plenty of people who can't. And you're one of those people that couldn't, at least up until.
Oh, I learned. I think we mentioned on the last podcast, but I think I learned how to swim just 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you went to some kind of class or something here.
Yeah,
right?
I went to adult classes for, to classes for adults who don't know anything. So they were really starting from zero.
Yeah, mainly targeted at adults who cannot swim. Instructors from Holstatens Swimmer Club will be giving free swimming lessons at the bathing areas on Halfdansgård and Sluseholmen.
That's pretty nice. I had to pay for mine.
Yeah, well, maybe you should. Minimum age limit to participate is 15, and it's going to be from, let's see, at Sluseholmen, it will be from June 2nd to August 27th on Fridays between 1700 and 1800, and on Sundays from 11 till 12. And then it'll also be possible to have lessons at the bathing area at Halfdansgård by Isensberg from June 3rd to August 28th on Fridays from 17 to 18 and Sundays from 11 to 12. So, yeah, maybe you could.
It sounds great.
I think it is. You know, it's one of those things where I guess when people get older and they don't know how to swim, it's like almost embarrassing to kind of admit or like go to classes and then be like, wow, I'm with a bunch of kids and like I'm an adult and I don't know how to swim. But the reality is, I guess there's nothing really to be ashamed of because you should learn how to swim because it could save your life or save somebody else's life too. If you watch somebody fall in the water and they need help or something, you can maybe go help them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I never really, I didn't do it because I was ever afraid. I just stayed away from the water, you know?
Right.
I don't really think I was embarrassed about it, but one of the things that really made me want to learn was every time I saw someone in a pool or in the arbor or canal or something like that, people seem to be having so much fun in the water, and I really felt jealous of that.
Yeah,
that's one of the main reasons. And it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to swim.
Yeah, of course, it feels great.
And I can barely do it. You know, I can avoid drowning. But, but it's still fun.
It's also a pretty good low impact way to do some cardio.
Yeah, exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of cardio from swimming. Holy shit, it takes up a lot of energy.
And it feels nice on a warm day to be in the water.
Sure does.
Or
and the harbors here are really clean.
Yeah, I assume so.
Well, I think there are some studies and stuff showing they're like some of the cleanest in the world for like a city like this.
Yeah, we might have talked about that
before. I feel like we have. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or just
ourselves. Yeah.
What else we got?
Well, talking about cleanliness.
Yeah, island pulling out all the stops to prevent a rat plague.
There you go, Fanø.
Fanø is a small island off Esbjerg on the west coast of Denmark, so I guess this is in Jylland. For a number of years now, it's been free from rats. However, last week, an islander discovered a dead one. Now they are mobilizing all their efforts to stop them spreading. Today, a team of rat catchers is visiting the island, and it seems there might be more than one. Rat catcher Hans Ebsen from the Esbjerg municipality has been brought in to solve the problem. And he said that, quote, "We think there might be several rats on the property, and we're going all in to destroy them and stop the population spreading. Once rats become established, their numbers increase extremely rapidly, and it would be extremely difficult to make the island rat-free again." Yeah. Huh.
How do these rats get there if it's an island?
I mean, probably
on a ferry without nobody noticing?
The back of somebody's car, luggage, a bag. I don't really know. Rats are some clever creatures, though. There's a lot of them around Copenhagen, but you never really see them unless you're out at night. Have you ever seen rats like running around up the gutters and stuff?
In Copenhagen?
Yeah. I've seen them before.
I'm not sure I've seen. Well, I've
I've seen a few of them. There's been some big old rats I've seen, but it's usually like really late at night when it's super quiet, and you'll just see one streaking across the road and then running up into like a little hole or up a gutter or something like that.
I don't think I've seen them. There was a flood a few years ago, and I used to have kind of like an outhouse kind of thing. So just on the backyard of the building that I lived in,
Yeah.
you'd go to a separate room. You'd leave your apartment and then go to the backyard and then get into a room where I had where I do my laundry. And there was also a toilet there because I guess back in the day it used to be really a outhouse, where people could shower or take a common shower and toilet. And so when there was this flood, there was actually a rat that came up from the toilet, and it was just there, dead, and
flushing back down.
That was not the greatest. That was not the greatest thing I've ever.
Did it have a nice smell to it, a good aroma?
I don't know, but
you didn't put your nose down in there and check?
No. I was like, I'm not a big fan of rats. Mostly because I just associate diseases with them,
like death,
and they have
trash.
teeth, so they can bite you.
Yeah, you don't want to get bitten by.
I mean, it might be unwarranted phobia. I don't know, but I'm really rats. Ugh. I mean,
people have them as pets. They're apparently they're super smart, and apparently they're very sweet. But I mean, it's different if you have a pet that's like vaccinated and clean, and
or a rat that goes in the fucking sewer.
Yeah, comes out of a toilet and pops up in your.
The weather is nice, so you're wearing like flip flops or something, and then he bites you in the fucking toe. And then you get gangrene or something. I don't know. I realize that I'm just going a little bit over.
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration.
I know,
because he's probably so scared of you, he's just going to run away.
But but what if I get a rat that is not scared of me?
What if you have an island completely infested with rats? I mean, that's what they're trying to prevent down there.
Yeah, that's terrible. But just chase them. I don't know. If they got rid of them before, they can get rid of them again.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. That's interesting. I don't know. I guess, I've seen one or two rats in Copenhagen, and apparently, according to what I've heard, they're not uncommon here, but they're
just elusive.
They're very elusive. You don't really see them that often. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how this story develops, because we did have that update. We've been trying to revisit some of the articles that we touched on before when we get new news about them, like that the guy that was sentenced in that child porn case as well. But I don't know. I don't have too much else for this week. Well, we do have this Vesterbro gets a new champagne bar. I don't really care too much about champagne, but where's this one on? Dannebrogskel in Vesterbro, right next to a cocktail bar, Duck and Cover. What is this place called?
That's a nice area. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what this place is called.
Oh, the champagne bar.
Yeah. Oh, the reception, maybe. Oh no, that's not. That's just the reception they're going to have when they open. So they opened it yesterday. Why is there not a name here?
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
No,
Bubbles have become commonplace. There's like no name here.
That's strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think the reception could be the name of it?
That's what I thought for a second there. It says what? The reception, where Dannebrogskel Oda. But
might be the reception.
Maybe it's called the reception. Maybe it's just called something else. And they're talking about the initial thing. Anyways, if you want to try some champagne.
Yeah, you can also try port wine in Vesterbro.
Can you? So, yeah, do you like port wine? I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, of course I like it. I mean, it's Portuguese. I have to. I'll lose my citizenship if...
Is that how that works?
If I claim foul. I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Either way, I don't want to risk it. I love port wine.
Yeah?
I tend to like drinks that are less sweet and more something else, like bitter, sour or bitter or stuff like that. But I do enjoy a small glass of port wine or two every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That is quite interesting.
And we also have similar kind of drinks. Like port wine is kind of sweet red wine. We also have sweet whitish wine I forgot the name now, but I like that a lot more than red wine actually. And we actually have some great wines and stuff like that in Portugal. I think we're just not very good at marketing that.
No,
but Portugal is becoming. I have a feeling Portugal is becoming quite more trendy nowadays, and I see a lot more, port wine or just Portuguese wine being exported. Or I think there used to be a place that sold, like a wine shop that only sold Portuguese wines in Nopo.
okay.
That was a really nice place, and the wine was relatively cheap, but it's closed now. They also sold pastel de nata, which is our custard. How do you call it?
Dessert or what?
Yeah, pastry. Like our custard pastry. It's like It's kind of the maple syrup of Portugal, so to say. Since we're talking about the maple syrup thing earlier,
yeah,
it's that's probably one of the most traditional.
So that would be the heist.
The
heist, like the maple syrup heist, but it would be on this Portuguese pastry.
Exactly. It's you might. Yeah, I think you tried them because when my mom and my grandmother came here,
I brought
some
some tasty Portuguese pastries. They were quite good. Yeah, they were nice. They were like not too sweet.
No, they're not very sweet.
But they had a little bit of sweetness, like a hint. It was definitely not like an American treat.
No. It's a great mix and a great ratio of, I don't know, sweetness and not sweetness.
Make pastries great again.
They've always been great in Portugal for it.
Sting is coming to Copenhagen, to the new Royal Arena on September 24th this year.
Good for him.
Yeah,
good for Sting fans.
Yeah, well, the tickets go on sale in 2 days, on May 29th. So I imagine this is going to sell out like
it's going to sell out
super fast.
Yeah, either on the first day or first couple of days probably.
And I've heard good things about Royal Arena. One of our friends or somebody that we know went to a Bruno Mars concert, like with his girlfriend or something. He wasn't really expecting anything much, but he said that first off, the venue was really nice. And also that he was impressed by how good the live performance was. Like there was a bunch of live instrumentation, dancing, choreography, like everything was just top notch, which I guess Bruno Mars is like a pretty well respected musician, like probably not one of those people that just completely relies on auto-tune and backing tracks.
I have to claim complete ignorance on Bruno Mars. I know the name.
I kind of do as well, but I mean, I've heard. I mean, I think people generally hold him in kind of high regard with that, with respect to live performance. Anyways, we had a friend that basically said that it was a great show, and he wasn't expecting it to be great. But he also mentioned that Royal Arena was really nice, and that's not far from where we are here on Ama.
No, that's in Ama. I mean, that's. Are you proud that Royal Arena is actually quite close to where you live?
Yeah, I mean, it's great that it's here, I guess. One thing that's annoying about it is when there are concerts and it's around the time that I'm taking the metro back home, sometimes the metro is like completely packed to the point where there's like standing room only, and there's like drunk teenagers in there acting a fool. And so sometimes it actually causes a bit of a practical annoyance just because everybody's going to see some show, and the primary way that I get home is like completely packed and full, and they all get off on my station too. So it's not like I can hope that they'll get off like a little bit earlier and finally I can have some peace. I have to wait all the way and then get off with this giant throng of 15-year-olds that have been drinking and shouting.
They
and all
scream
that.
at them like, "Get off my
lawn.
Not lawn because it's not a lawn, but get off my neighborhood or get off my metro."
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't. But whatever. I'm glad it's here. I mean, it's good stuff to have more venues for live music, just like we were talking about. I mean, Copenhagen is very vibrant with nightlife scene, music, comedy shows. I think it's small enough to not feel like shows still feel very intimate here, and for the most part. I mean, with the exception of probably super big shows like the Sting show, or maybe like Metallica was here, right? Weren't they? I think they were.
Yeah, I think they opened
for the grand open at Royal Arena,
or at least they were planning on opening.
I'm sure those shows are a little bigger and less intimate, but like the stuff at Ama Bio, that's a fairly small venue. Pumpahusel is also kind of a small venue, so you're like really close to the artist, and you feel like it's a bit of a more personal show rather than just some giant screaming throng of fans where you're going to get trampled to death in the crowd. And for me, I prefer that. Like a lot of people, I guess it's cool and all for some people. For me, I just don't want to feel like just completely almost suffocated by the amount of people in a certain venue. So I kind of like the smaller venues myself. And usually I think they have better sound as well, the smaller the venue.
So you feel safe? You feel safer, or you feel better in a smaller venue? Even because if it's smaller,
I don't know if it's just safer. If that's really the issue, I just feel less like crowded and maybe like an anxiety from so many people. Yeah, maybe safety has like some of the concern, you know, because there's been like certain venues that have had like people just I don't know, the whole thing catches on fire. Like you had that. Well, I'm just saying, and then everybody like tramples people going to the door. So maybe it is a little bit of paranoia at the end of the day, or just something. But also besides just that, I also feel like it's a more intimate performance where like the artists are like have a closer connection. Like when we saw Cunning Linguists here, like we were basically like just arm's length. Like I could have just reached out and touched any of the guys from Cunning Linguist, and I actually talked to him a little bit after the show as well, and that was pretty cool. You wouldn't have that in a crowd of 100,000. There'd be no way.
No, but
and that was at Pumpahusel. There was maybe a few hundred people there for the show, so it felt, I guess, a little more.
Yeah, but I think that depends a lot on the artist itself and not necessarily on the venue. I've seen.
But the venue can only hold so many people based on the fire regulations. Like you can't just fill the venue with 100,000 people if it's designed for 400.
I understand
and Pumpahusel does not seat that many, or does not allow that many people.
No, but I've been at Pumpahusel to see Monster Magnet with a friend of mine who's a big fan.
Yeah.
And I mean they didn't stay out and talk to the fans and stuff like that, you know? So,
yeah, I guess it depends on the artist and all that stuff as well. I'm just saying I had a good experience there. And I think I tend to prefer the smaller stuff. Like the main stages and on stuff on Smokefest, that's like kind of the limit of where like I don't want it to be much bigger than that personally. Because then I just think, first off, it's hard to project sound that well. Like those big speaker systems and stuff, there's like so much reverb, and you just end up getting really shitty sound quality where it just sounds like a loud wall of bass without really any mids or treble, something like that. So yeah, then again, I'm kind of an audiophile. Yeah, I'm a bit of an audiophile guy. So I mean, I'd like to have some good sound quality. And the smaller the venue, I think the easier it is to control the acoustics.
I've been at a concert in Pumpahusel, just to keep on the same topic, that it was the first time that I actually started thinking, I feel that the sound could have been better than this. Again, I don't know if it has to do with the venue. Probably not, because you say that you really like the
venue.
The sound.
I think the venue has a great setup. It was probably the guy behind the mixing board that night,
or something like that.
Yeah,
or maybe, I mean, it was also a kind of a 60s rock concert, so it's.
Yeah, but I think I remember you telling me for that show that for the first few songs or something, it sounded like shit, and then it suddenly got a little better, like somebody had made some changes. Or was that a different show?
It might have. I don't know.
Anyways,
I
it's all about the live sound guy. I mean, of course, it should have a good system to begin with, but I mean, at the end of the day, they can have a great system, and if the sound guy doesn't know what he's doing, it's going to sound like shit. So, and I think some bands are like very pushy. They want their sound guy to be involved, and maybe that guy doesn't know all the dynamics of the system he's on. Or whatever. So
is Pumpahusel your favorite concert venue so far here?
I think so. I think Amabio has a good opportunity to be a good one as well. I just haven't. We've only seen stand up there. I haven't actually seen a music thing at Amabio. But yeah, I like those little bit smaller ones. 400 to maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people max. I don't know. Any more than that, it just feels like it's too many fucking people. I think more than anything, I just don't like a lot of people.
Yes, that doesn't come as a surprise.
I mean, that's part of the reason I don't like being on the bus, because it just feels like there's too many damn people on there, and they're always in your way.
But you like going to Smokefest?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't want to be right there down in basically. I mean, there's no real mosh pit, right? But I don't want to be like right in the front, just shaking shoulders with all these people that are going nuts. I kind of like to be like on the edges,
like you have your space,
where I feel like I have at least like an arm's length of space if I need it. I feel like I'm not going to get like crushed to death. You know,
I have a friend who he actually told me that it's a very American and Australian. He was Australian, so I guess he was also referring to Australian, because people in America, that you just have so much space like land mass and for the amount of people.
Yeah, we have like a bigger personal bubble, like a personal space bubble.
And in Europe, people tend to, I don't know, feel comfortable closer together or just are more used to it because there's narrow streets and
it could be that.
People
I don't know.
Brush shoulders here and there.
It might be that. I don't know.
I never had any problem with, or I never felt any issue with being in a tight space like that. I guess it's kind of the same way as the claustrophobia thing. But then again, one of the things that freaks me out the most is mobs, because if there's a mob running or even walking, but if there's just a large amount of people and they're like, okay, we're going in this direction now, I mean, you're gonna get trampled if you don't follow.
So that freaks you out. But being in a giant crowd of people that could easily turn into mob on like one single action, like let's say there's let's say you're at a Justin Bieber concert, which I know is highly likely for you, and you're in like the very front row. You got the greatest seats because you're his biggest fan, and he reaches down off the stage a little bit to kind of like touch people's hands, and the entire, what's going to happen is the entire fucking crowd is going to push everybody up there and like crush everybody to death in the front row. You're not like worried about that at all?
Well,
that shit freaks me out. Just the fact that it can happen. And then basically it can happen so easily and nobody really has any intention of it happening. And yet nobody really understands what's going on. Like that mob dynamic where just people kind of push forward for no other reason. And they don't realize somebody at the front is like literally unable to breathe. And then that person just dies in the heat of the thing. And you're like, then later somebody finds your corpse there.
Yeah, I mean, it freaks me out as a concept. It doesn't freak me out in the sense that I know I wouldn't be like in worried. That position on a situation like that, I mean, just because I'm not afraid of being in a place like in a concert or whatever with a big crowd, it doesn't mean that I don't take some measures that bad shit doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying like that's the first thing I think about when I go to a concert. It's just that's part of the reason I don't want to be like in the very thick part of like a mosh pit environment or like right in the center of all the action, because I just feel like there's a higher likelihood that maybe something bad will be happening. And on top of that, usually the shit is way too loud right there in the front too. And if I don't have earplugs or something or whatever, like there's no reason for me to just have like the full frontal blast of the fucking audio right there at those big venues anyway.
Well, there's certainly areas during distortion that are like that you really need to squeeze through people, and if you get in there, you're gonna take at least 5 minutes or more to get by, to get through. There are certainly areas like that. Yeah, but I mean, you won't get into you don't get into those areas
without wanting to or trying. Yeah.
So I don't think that's something you should be concerned about. So
you're gonna hang out at Distortion then this year a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I love Distortion in Nordbro and in Westerpro. I mean, the one in Nordbro I like because I really like Nordbro. Yeah. And I live in Westerpro, so and like a big part of the festival is on Eastergel, so it's right outside my window. And it's just I don't know, I love it. There's all kinds of, maybe there's not all kinds of music, but there's various kinds of music. There's a lot of stages, there's food, there's people. It's just fun. Yeah, I recommend everybody check it out.
I'm checking here the Copenhagen subreddit, see if there's anything interesting. To be honest, not too much on this subreddit right now that's interesting. I did notice though, because I'm sub to it, that there was a change like a week or two ago. They got some new mods, some new moderators for the Copenhagen subreddit. And then you remember how it used to just basically be nothing but posts of people saying, "Oh, I'm coming to Copenhagen. I don't know, recommend me something," and they would provide almost no information, and people would be like, "Well, I don't know what the hell you want to do." I mean,
but they have a wiki.
Yeah, well, of course they have a wiki and a great sidebar that has like a list of everything you could possibly want to do. It's like a great self-help resource, but nobody ever looks at it. But basically what they did is I guess they copied the Amsterdam subreddit, where now they have a weekly, like a recurring weekly thread for tourists and visitors and new arrivals to like go to this thread first, so it doesn't clutter up the subreddit with a bunch of these kind of low quality, low effort, useless posts. Well, not useless, but I mean they're just kind of litter the subreddit.
It's just I think it's interesting that in a subreddit like this, where it's not a very big city, so there's not like millions and millions of people living here. No. But it's a very popular destination for tourists.
Yes.
Yeah, the noise ratio kind of tends to be quite high because there's a lot of people who visit and they want tips and they have questions.
It's like, I want to do what all the locals do. I don't want to have like a touristy experience, but yet they're not willing to like read like 2 minutes on the sidebar.
But outside of that, there's a lot of people visiting, but there's not a lot of. But it's a small city, so there's not a lot of, I guess, shit going on or people actually posting city-related stuff.
Yeah.
So then you end up with a big or a
high
big
noise to signal ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's a good thing. And also, aren't you're gonna contact some of the new mod team, right? And to see about if we can maybe every like once a month or something post about our podcast on there.
Yeah, we should.
Because I mean,
let them know we exist.
The subreddit is not very busy. Things end up sitting on the front page of this subreddit for like up to a week or 10 days sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think one post every month about maybe our latest episode or something like that would be too spammy, but we don't want to be like those spammy cunts. It's like
we'll just ask for permission
promoting. So you're gonna check with them
because I think it's related to. I think it fits the subreddit.
Yeah, but you're gonna check with them, right? Because I think you said you were gonna do that a month ago.
I'll ask one of the mods or something like that.
All right. I'm just waiting for that day.
Oh, you shouldn't wait for it. I mean, if you really want something done,
you got to do it yourself.
Well, isn't there some proverb like that?
Something like that. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yes.
Which is mostly what I did for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. As a reminder for people, if you're listening on Stitcher, you can listen to us on Stitcher. If you are, and you like the podcast, and you would do us the biggest favor, leave a review of our podcast, because we're trying to get 5 reviews on Stitcher, because that apparently increases our visibility a lot. And I think Stitcher is actually a pretty cool app if you're like a podcast listener at all.
Do a lot of people use Stitcher?
I think it was very popular, I know, a few years ago. I don't know how popular it is now. I think there's some other stuff like Overcast. Of course, there's integration with iTunes, right? A lot of people listen to podcasts on that. I think some people just listen to it on SoundCloud like we've posted. And there's a Google podcast thing that I actually tried to submit us to, but you're only allowed to post to Google Podcasts if you're from the US or Canada, and it's been like that for like 3 years. And they said 3 years ago they were working on expanding the podcast to the international market, and they still fucking haven't. So I guess Google doesn't really care about podcasts unless you're from North America.
Well,
but anyways, there's plenty of other ways to listen.
Yeah, still, iTunes is certainly the most popular.
But still, I mean, wouldn't you want to be in the official like Android Podcasts store, or I don't know,
I guess
Discovery area? I want to be everywhere that I can. That's reasonable.
My goal is a billboard on Times Square for it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna pay?
With my face? No, maybe not my face, but at least my silhouette.
And you're getting a new microphone soon, right?
Yes. As soon as the month is over, I guess. As soon as I get paid.
Oh, you're gonna do it when you get paid?
Well,
so that's like a few days now.
Yeah, it's next week.
Do you think you'll have the new mic for the next podcast?
Maybe,
because they ship it pretty quick from Tillman.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, after the last changes you made, I felt less dissatisfied or more satisfied, just not use a double negative. I felt more satisfied with the sound of this mic, because basically I guess what I was annoyed with was our mic
processing chain. Yeah, the way we were doing the processing before. So if you don't know, last episode was the first episode we used full VST processing for the vocal chain, and I guess we'll continue to do that from here on out.
And to my ears, it sounded better. I sounded better.
I think it was cleaner from a technical perspective. It had a lower noise floor, and from just a enjoyment perspective, I would say the compression, and from a technical level too, the compression was probably done a little more controlled and better. There was some EQ stuff, which of course that's subjective. What sounds better with regard to EQ? But I think just overall, the quality of the processing and those effects were higher than what we had in some of the outboard gear, the DBX channel strips we have. So, but yeah, maybe we should leave it at that, Dolphin. Go enjoy some of this nice weather.
Let's enjoy the sun then. I mean, it's not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
There's 3 more weeks of it and then rain again.
So yeah, thanks for listening in. We'll go ahead and post this one up on SoundCloud. We will put in the description all the articles we talked about, and then yeah, what do you think? Posting on Facebook like Monday or Tuesday to remind folks that we exist.
Yeah,
to catch that office crowd.
It sounds like such. I can't imagine a better start of the week than listening to us.
Unfiltered Copenhagen.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next time.
Ta-ta.